So, if you are working in logistics or managing procurement or, just trying to keep a complex supply chain running, the pressure is always on. And for years, AI was this kind of abstract idea, a tool for coders maybe, something for the distant future. Well, that world is gone. We've really hit an inflection point.
We really have.
Artificial intelligence is now, right now, fundamentally changing how we plan, how we execute, and maybe most importantly, who is doing the work.
That's the key. We're seeing this profound shift from, let's say, simple automation to genuine autonomy. And the systems driving this change, these AI agents, they're moving out of the lab and straight into your ERPs.
Welcome to the Future Chain podcast. Today, our mission is to break down the massive 2026 State of AI Agents report and really tailor it for you, the professional in supply chain, logistics, and procurement. We're going to pull out the essential knowledge you need to turn this stuff into action.
And maybe we should clarify the core concept first. Because when we say AI agent, we're not talking about traditional software that just, waits for a human to type something.
Right.
An agent is a system that can do three things. It can reason through a problem, like optimizing a shipping route. It can make decisions based on that reasoning. And then, crucially, it can take autonomous action.
So it's not just suggesting, it's doing.
It's doing. It handles multi-step, even cross-functional processes without someone having to babysit it. They drive themselves.
That idea, a self-driving workflow, that's the whole game. And here's the metric that just jumped out at me, showing how fast this is happening. Agents are not in pilot programs anymore. More than half of all organizations surveyed, 57%, are already using them for complex, multi-stage workflows.
And it gets even more complex. 16% have already progressed to using agents for cross-functional processes.
And what does that mean in practice?
It means the agent is connecting systems that have always been siloed. So it's autonomously connecting procurement data with finance forecasts or having logistics planning talk directly to inventory management in real time. It's a huge, huge acceleration.
Okay, so you might be listening to this and thinking, AI sounds expensive, and the ROI is still kind of theoretical. We have to tackle that skepticism right away, because the data in this report says something very different.
It really does. The report finds that 80% of organizations confirm their AI agent investments are already delivering measurable economic impact.
Not projected value, actual ROI.
Actual banked ROI today, not maybe in 3 years. Only 1 in 10 organizations thinks the impact is purely a future thing.
Hold on, 80%.
Yeah.
That sounds that's an incredible number. If the ROI is that clear, what's the friction for the other 20%? What's the holdup?
Well, context matters. The early wins often come from the low-hanging fruit, the quick efficiency gains. But that confidence is translating into real conviction for the future, especially with the big players. A massive 88% of leaders expect returns to continue or even increase next year.
And the big enterprises, they're usually so cautious.
Exactly. Even they are showing huge optimism. 87% of them are planning to tackle even more complex projects. And when you see large organizations betting big like that, it tells you one thing. This tech has proven its value at scale.
So we're not just optimizing what we already do, we're changing the ambition for what's possible in 2026. What does that complexity look like?
It means moving beyond a single function. 81% plan to tackle more complex use cases. 39% are focusing on deeper multi-step processes. And 29% are doubling down on those cross-functional projects we just talked about. So for you in logistics, that could mean an agent that negotiates a price change, initiates a supplier contract renewal, and then automatically updates the treasury forecast, all in one autonomous go.
Okay, so engineering teams definitely laid the groundwork here. Nearly 90% of organizations use AI to help with coding, which shows high technical trust. But for operational leaders, the real money shot is outside the code. It's in the operational workflow.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the big picture for operations, the highest impact use cases are where the data churn is highest. 2 things really stand out.
Okay.
First is data analysis and report generation. That was cited by 60% of organizations. For large enterprises, it's even higher, 65%. And second, internal process automation. That's ranked high at 48%.
So why data analysis? If you're managing a global network, you already have a BI team. What's different when an agent does it?
The difference is speed and scale. Large organizations, especially with global supply chains, are just drowning in data silos. Think about merging compliance data with inventory turnover across 10 different countries. Traditional analysis is slow, it's custom built. An agent can ingest all of that, correlate it, and generate reports that used to take days, and it can do it in minutes.
Or just automate the whole process.
Or automate it entirely. And that second one, internal process automation, the 48% metric, that's about the daily friction.
The stuff that slows everyone down.
Exactly. It's about getting rid of that bureaucratic drag. Automating those repetitive workflows, like the 20 steps to onboard a new vendor, or the initial document review for import compliance. That stuff consumes so much time and introduces so much risk of human error.
And the report seems to back this up. The biggest area for planned adoption is research and reporting at 56%. But right behind it, you find supply chain optimization and financial planning. So leaders are really starting to see agents as essential infrastructure, not just another IT tool.
That's the strategic shift. It's becoming core.
Let's zero in on that. What are the immediate implications for our listeners? What should someone in supply chain or logistics expect in the next, say, 12 to 18 months?
The report gives us some pretty clear ROI targets. Software development and customer service are, naturally at the top, 57 and 55%. But supply chain logistics and operations are right there, expected to drive ROI for 44% of organizations. Marketing and sales are just a tiny bit ahead at 46%.
44% is a big number.
Right.
But let me ask you this. Why is logistics lagging, even slightly, behind something like customer service? Is it because our systems are older? Is the complexity just higher?
That's a really important question. I mean, logistics and operations are actually ideal for agents. It's high volume, repetitive work with very clear metrics. You can measure a reduction in shipping costs instantly, so proving ROI is easy.
So what's the problem?
The lag probably comes down to legacy systems. Your old ERP, the data fragmentation you see in any global supply chain. When your data is a mess, adoption is going to be slower. It just is.
Okay, so what does that 44% expected impact actually look like on a P&L statement?
Short term, 44% of organizations are expecting faster task completion. That's your classic efficiency gain. But the real goal, especially for the enterprise, is measurable cost savings from less manual work and, this is critical, fewer expensive errors, especially in high-stakes processes like regulatory filings.
And when you compound that speed and accuracy, you can start to transform your strategy.
You can. That compounding efficiency lets you do things that just weren't economically viable before. For example, instead of running a competitive analysis in procurement once a quarter, what if you could do it continuously?
Right.
Or have automated continuous documentation for compliance throughout the entire shipping process? Agents unlock these new strategic actions by freeing up your people's time and attention.
This all sounds like a pretty massive undertaking. And we know it's not always smooth sailing, so let's get practical.
Yeah.
If I'm a logistics leader listening now, what are the top 3 roadblocks I need to be budgeting for?
The barriers are pretty much what you'd expect. They're infrastructural. Number 1 is integration with existing systems, 46%. That's your legacy ERP that wasn't built for an agent to make autonomous API calls.
Of course.
Right behind that, data access and quality issues at 42%, and implementation costs at 43%.
That data quality issue has to be especially painful for smaller companies that don't have, dedicated data governance teams.
Absolutely. And that's where we see a split. Small and mid-sized businesses struggle much more with the human side of this. For them, change management, employee resistance, training, that hits 51% as a top concern.
And for big enterprises?
It's less of a hurdle. They tend to have more robust change management frameworks already in place.
So how are companies getting this done successfully? Are they building everything from scratch or just buying off the shelf?
The winning strategy seems to be the middle path. 47% of organizations are going with a hybrid approach. So you combine off-the-shelf agents with custom-built parts. You buy the pre-built tool for common tasks like summarizing a document. Then you customize only the specific bits you need to talk to your proprietary supply chain system.
You get the speed of off-the-shelf with the control of a custom build.
Exactly. It's the best of both worlds.
And this all comes back to the people. The report suggests agents are elevating human roles, not just replacing them. Employees are spending more time on skill development, strategic work, and relationship building.
70% on skill development, 66% on strategic work. They're becoming reviewers and strategists, not data entry clerks.
That's a huge shift.
It is. And this is where we need to connect it to the highest level of strategy. It really reminds me of Accenture's perspective on this. They say companies that treat this as a reinvention imperative, meaning they are actually willing to redesign workflows, redistribute authority, they will get compounding advantages.
But if you just treat it as a tech problem.
If you just treat it as a technology implementation challenge, you're only going to see small incremental gains. You have to be willing to give the agent the authority to act.
Okay, to make this idea of autonomy really concrete, let's run through a few real-world examples. How are agents actually pulling this off?
Let's start with data complexity. Look at L'Oreal. They needed to give business teams access to global data, but without losing accuracy. They ended up achieving 99.9% accuracy on conversational analytics by using a central agent as an orchestrator. This main agent managed a team of specialized agents, one for financial math, one for product data, another for geography. Suddenly, non-technical employees could ask incredibly complex questions and get an answer directly, instead of waiting for IT to build a custom report.
That is a massive operational win. Okay, what about speed?
For speed, the Easton Tire case is a great example. They're a cybersecurity firm, but the lesson applies to any complex investigation, like a fraud audit or a supply chain disruption. They compressed the time for an expert threat analysis from 5 hours down to just 7 minutes.
5 hours to 7 minutes, while maintaining quality.
Yes, all while achieving 95% alignment with their senior analysts' decisions. The agent was just able to correlate millions of data points and spot the initial patterns way faster than a human could.
And in highly regulated industries, the stakes are even higher.
Hugely. Think about Novo Nordisk, the pharmaceutical company. The regulatory paperwork for clinical studies is a massive bottleneck. They used agents to cut the production time for these documents from over 10 weeks down to just 10 minutes.
10 weeks to 10 minutes.
And when every single day of delay in that process can cost up to $15 million in potential revenue, well, the agent stops being an efficiency tool and becomes a critical business enabler.
And finally, let's bring it back to internal processes.
Right. The digital bank N26. They achieved 70% automation across targeted processes in just 1 year. And this wasn't simple stuff. It was complex areas like financial crime analysis and chargeback request processing. Those are exactly the kinds of complex, multi-step workflows that logistics and procurement teams can start automating right now.
So as you head into 2026, it seems like there are two main takeaways. First, AI agents are way past the pilot phase. They are proving massive ROI in complex cross-functional workflows. And second, they're really poised to revolutionize operational roles in the supply chain. That 44% expected impact metric is a huge signal.
The time for waiting is definitely over. But you have to be strategic about where you focus your effort. And that brings us to the final thought, which I think is really provocative. It comes from Anthropic's 2025 Economic Index, where they analyzed millions of agent interactions, and they found the biggest bottleneck to getting maximum value. It isn't the model's capability. And it isn't the cost.
So what is it?
It's context. Context. They found a stable relationship for every 1% increase in the input context length, which just means the quality and organization of the data you feed the agent, you get a 0.38% increase in the quality of the output. So this raises the critical question for every single professional planning for 2026. How accessible, how organized, and how standardized is your internal data? Because your data quality isn't just a legacy IT problem anymore. It is the absolute ceiling on your agent's future success.